Uganda Human Rights Commission as the director in charge of complaints, investigations and legal services. This morning, the Commission received representatives of the Inspector General of Police who met the chairperson to the Commission, Honorable Mariam Wangadia, and Commissioner retired Colonel Stephen Basaliza. The representatives came in response to the summons that had been issued by the chairperson requiring the IGP to come to the Commission. They were issued last week on 27th April and was required to come to the Commission on 4th May 2023, which is today, and they sent representatives from the legal and Human Rights Directorate of Uganda Police Force, and we've had an engagement with the IGP's representatives, and the issues that were put to them were issues concerning the incidents that have been unfolding in the past few weeks concerning the gatherings of politicians that have been dispersed, and also the issue of the medical interns that happened in Lago, where journalists were pepper sprayed by a member of the Uganda Police Force. So the information that we needed from the police had to do with, first and foremost, whether they've instituted any investigations arising out of these incidents that involve the politicians, involve members of parliament, the latest being the one of last week that involved the women MPs who were arrested at the entrance of parliament. Whether they've instituted any investigations arising out of these incidents, and if so, whether the officers who they've found culpable are going to be held to account. We as a commission, of course, we are interested in the comprehensive management of this issue. The fact that we keep having these issues recurring, we wanted to find out from police whether they have a strategy of training police officers, continuous trainings of police officers, to ensure that incidents like this do not happen. To ensure that police officers respect Article 221 of the Constitution on respecting and observing human rights in the performance of their functions. Training of police officers on the use of reasonable force, and in the event that there is use of excessive force, what steps does the police put in place? But also the purpose of the meeting was to hear from police. You know, we work according to the principle of natural justice, so we also have to hear from the other side. And police raised a number of issues. The first one being that in the scuffle that happened last week with the women members of parliament, their officers were also injured in the scuffle. That's what they've informed the chairperson and the honorable commissioner, that their officers were also injured, and indeed their officers have gone ahead to open case files of assault at the police against the members of parliament. And of course they were urging that in reporting and putting out the news, the media needs to be balanced, because most of the videos that came out last week were showing one side, and yet when there is another video that came out, I think towards the end of the day, from I think BBS Certifying or something, they said that video showed that some of the MPs indeed were fighting the police officers. So the police is requesting for balanced reporting on the side of the media, to show both sides of the story, to show both sides what's happening on both sides, so that people can be able to appreciate and judge from an informed point of view. And then also we had a concern that the Constitutional Court has declared sections 32(2) of the Police Act and section 8 of the Public Order Management Act unconstitutional. And these are the sections that we are using for public order management. So we are saying that if the Constitutional Court has declared these sections unconstitutional, under what law is the police proceeding to contain these gatherings? And we've been informed that police is performing its primary mandate given to it under the Constitution to maintain law and order, and it is in that spirit that they intervene in these public gatherings. So in a nutshell, that's what has happened. We've really emphasized the issue of accountability, that for those officers found culpable at the conclusion of the investigations being conducted by police, the police officers should really be held to account and subjected to the disciplinary process within the police. And they've assured us that some arrests have been made, especially arising from the Mulengera incident where journalists were pepper sprayed. I think 2 officers were arrested. And then from the Vuvuma incident where the woman MP was assaulted, they've informed us that 11 officers were arrested arising out of that incident. I thank you so much. We actually raised the fact that when the gatherings of these women MPs were being stopped, on the other side we noticed that the other groups were going ahead with commemorating the International Women's Day. So there was a concern that there is a bit of lack of fairness. If one group is being stopped and another one is being allowed to carry on. So the advice that the chairperson gave the Uganda Police Force is that there needs to be a balance in their interventions, and also they are operating within a charged atmosphere of politics. So it is very important that as police, they do not allow themselves to be swallowed by the politics, but to serve the people. Because it's not good that one side continues with its celebrations and another side is stopped. So it's very important for police to come up with a strategy of how they are going to manage these gatherings in a way that does not portray them as pro one side and not for another side. So how do they walk that balance of doing their work in a political atmosphere but also in a fair manner? So the chairperson advised them to come up with standard operating procedures that allow for them to do their work in a manner that respects the law, respects rights, but also in a manner that is fair. Now, for Mr. Jingo Francis, the disciplinary action, I remember we were very specific that it's not only about arresting these police officers. We would want to be updated as a commission. First of all, we would want to know who these officers are, give us their details, but also to know if the investigations have been concluded, have they been produced before the police disciplinary court, what concrete action has been taken. And the chairperson is going to follow up on finding out what concrete action has been taken by these officers, because we've requested for this information to be given to us during the course of this month so that we can be able to also follow up as a commission in the spirit of accountability. The issue of notice, because it keeps coming up, notice vis-a-vis permission. Of course, the courts have already declared that it is notice, that the people, organizers have to give, have to provide, have to inform police. They are not seeking permission, okay? Because this is an enjoyment of a right, and as you know, rights are inherent. So you're not seeking permission from the state to enjoy your right to freedom of expression and freedom of assembly, but to inform. So the question was, if these people are being stopped from what is said that they did not inform police, have these other people been informing police? That is the question. And the police officers, the representatives from the IGP have told us that they've been receiving notification in one way or the other about the general's gatherings. So that's what they've informed us, because we put this very question to them. Yes.
The notification, is it by writing, by just a mere call?
They've told us they've been receiving notification. They've been receiving notification. And then they say that the law is not specific on the nature of the notification. That we are going to have to also probe further, but they say they've been receiving notification because of the crowds involved in that person's meetings, that they've been receiving notification. Constitutional mandate to maintain law and order. But then they're also saying that the Constitutional Court did not outlaw Section 32.1. It outlawed Section 32.2. So Section 32.1 allows for a police commander to intervene during public assemblies. So they say they are proceeding under Section 32.1 of the Police Act. We were glad that they complied with the commission summons, and when we brought up the incidents and the particular incidents, they said they expressed the willingness and the commitment to continue training their officers so that their officers respect rights in the performance of their functions. For the things that did not go right, they've expressed a commitment for those things not to happen again. We will wait and see if that will happen, but they've expressed a commitment that we are going to try to work very hard to see that such things by individual police officers do not happen again, to spoil the name of an entire police force. Because our concern is why do they keep recurring? Okay? We want to know what steps are you taking to ensure that they do not keep recurring. And so among these, of course, is holding the perpetrators to account, but also to have systems within the police standard operating procedures, to have continuous training programs to see that there is attitudinal and behavioral change among members of the police force.
Maybe my last question. The IGP, yes, he can delegate. Did they give a specific reason as why he did not come in person? He had an engagement, I think, with everything that has been happening. With the minister, I think there is a lot happening in terms of security meetings, so he was not able to come in person.
That's something I want to understand. And the other groups not notified.
Pardon?
And the other groups not notified.
That's what the Uganda Police Force is saying, that they are not receiving notification, they are not receiving information, that people are just going onto the streets to hold their gatherings, and yet these gatherings at the end of the day are going to disrupt other people's businesses. So police has to come in to regulate and to stop the gatherings so that there's no more commotion or chaos caused. So they are saying that these other groups are not notifying or informing police of these gatherings. And that's where the contention is.